welcome to another episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And this is Season 6, Episode 2.
Or Episode 120 if you're counting.
And good to see everybody here tonight. I hope things are coming in loud and clear. Made a few changes to the setup around here, but I think we're golden, and I'm sure you guys will tell us otherwise if it's not. Welcome back, as always, and thank you, as always, to the Patreon contributors over at patreon.com/MarsGirl who make this show and so many other shows similar to it happen here on this channel. So thank you very much. Thanks to Patreon, I've been working still on this Dance Dance Revolution retrospective. Thanks to another contributor. I'm really excited to share that with you guys. It's going to be a two-parter. And, yeah. Misspelled episode? Well, I'll get it changed later.
Well, it makes sense the way you misspelled it. Episode!
It's not a big deal.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, it'll be fixed later for the post later watchings on YouTube.
Screw it. We're doing it live.
Not gonna be a big deal.
We're gonna roll with it.
Fixed. In any case, is there anything cool going on before we get started talking about major things? Well,
we're talking about things. But you got a thing. Where's the thing?
Sorry. I just remembered MagFest-related things.
Yes, MagFest-related things.
Because we did, in fact, get confirmed that our cartoon intro sing-along panel has been confirmed for a second year in a row now.
Yes.
Very excited about that. If you guys don't know what that is, I admittedly borrowed the concept from a couple Japanese friends of mine who came from Japan to Dallas for a convention a few years back. They did this 2 or 3 times in a row, where actually they had a 24-hour marathon of nothing but anime and tokusatsu TV intros, and people just sit there and sing along to it for 24 hours. We're not going for 24 hours.
No, well, if we're lucky, we're going for 2.
Yeah, depending on how they actually schedule it. The scheduling of MagFest is not yet done, but we have been confirmed to be doing this. Our version is for American cartoon intros. It can include some anime, but it's anime that has debuted on North American television in English, so...
Yeah, so it'll all be in English. Everybody more or less knows these songs, so you just come in, geek out for a little bit of time.
And sing with one another.
Yes.
It's really, really fun.
But that's not the only thing we do at MagFest. The other thing we do is, of course, the Nerf War, and we're going to be getting more information on that out this weekend, because I know a lot of people have been asking about it. We can't schedule it yet, because, like she said, they haven't made that available, and we always have to fit it in with everything else going on. We don't want to run into...
Because it's unofficial.
Yeah, it's unofficial.
So we have to schedule that. And that's gonna have to wait.
Luckily, before tonight's show, a couple of things came across our Twitter. These new, what's apparently the fall line of Nerf guns for this year. It's not stuff you're gonna be able to... I guess
we're showing pictures now, if that's what you're
just to get you guys a little hyped. So this right here, you guys might be familiar with the Rival line, which is a little closer to the paintball style gun that Nerf has out. This fall, there's this 40-shot fully auto Rival weapon. It's gonna be $70, this sucker.
Because it takes, what, 6 D batteries. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that thing is crazy. And then we got the other one, I think it's your number 2 on there. This sucker, a fully auto Mega Dart blaster called the Mastodon. Like...
Oh, isn't it called something
Mastodon? the Mega Mastodon. Yeah, because it has it on the side. Mega Mastodon.
You can see it straps, like, across your chest. And
and then and just choom, 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 choom. And I'm like, I want it. I want it so badly. And then they've got another one here for the mod... Or actually, this one, the Elite one, which they're saying will shoot 5 darts per second. The fastest they've ever shot an Elite dart out of a gun.
Pew, 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 pew.
And it's beautiful, and it's bringing back the drum. I miss the drum.
Yeah.
I love it when people... Yes, it's basically a BFG of Nerf guns. And then this last one here from the Modulus line, where they're combining all 3 weapons, the little missile, the Elite darts, and the Nerf darts, all to be shot out of one weapon.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's $50, but, like, I'm drooling at these things, and I can't wait to see what people bring to the war this year.
Well, these are unfortunately the fall line, so we're not going to see any of these.
Probably for another year at the war,
month,
but still people are going to bring their A game, and we always like to face off against people bringing their A game.
So MagFest was the big thing I wanted to bring up. So I understand I may or may not have some other events coming up soon. I'll let you guys know as soon as some of those details are nailed down. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about them. Can't wait. But I guess until then, unless you had anything else to talk about, got some follow-ups then.
Well, actually, we have one other thing to talk about. This is your last show in your 20s.
Oh, why you gotta do that to me?
Because you did it to me.
Bust balls, jeez.
That's exactly what I said last time. Why you gotta bust balls? Because we gotta bust balls because next Wednesday, it's your birthday.
I better go skydiving and scuba diving and water skiing and snow skiing and do everything death-defying in the next, 6 days.
Alright, get to it.
Got the money? Who's got the money to do all this?
I don't have. I didn't win Powerball last week. I'm sorry. I tried.
Well, shoot. Then I'm gonna die having done nothing because I'm gonna hit.
You plan
30
on dying in the next 6 days?
Yeah, to die before 30.
No, that'd be terrible. Don't do that.
No.
Too much of that.
I'll try not to. Okay.
Would you rather just do the show?
Yeah, let's just do the show.
Let's do the show.
Let's start with actually talking about what the news stories are first.
Yes. So first and foremost, on tonight's show, we're going to talk to you guys about this trailer that just came out last week. Last night was the return of Star Wars Rebels on Disney XD.
In the middle of Season 2, which they took a break for. Yeah,
for a little small winter break. But this trailer that they've put out now shows the rest of what we have to expect from the show this season. And some of it's kind of mind-blowing as far as continuity between the original trilogy movies and maybe some stuff connected to The Force Awakens. So we're going to talk to you guys about that.
Secondly, there's apparently going to be something in Japan known as the Dragon Quest Live Arena Tour, which, Japan and America too will put on all kinds of costume stage shows for different games and TV shows and superheroes all the time and stuff. But, something about this looked particularly impressive. And some of the details are really interesting, and it makes sense because it's Dragon Quest's 30th anniversary, and while some of the other things that Square Enix was announcing about Dragon Quest's 30th anniversary were kind of disappointing, this seemed kind of cool, so I want to elaborate.
Yeah, this seems like a good anniversary add-on.
Yes, absolutely.
And then the last thing on tonight's show is, you guys probably might have seen it over on the CW or just on the internet within the last day or two, this latest trailer for Suicide Squad coming out later this year. More full-length trailer telling you more about the plot, and we're gonna dissect it for you, because some of it works, some of it... Well, let's just say we'll talk about it more when we get there.
Yes, absolutely. Alright, follow-up time, right?
Yeah, follow-ups! Alright, let's do it. You know what, I'm not even gonna wait, we're gonna get right into it. Not quite Justice League. Let's hit it. All right, come on.
Wherever that... guess it's this? Yes.
Yes, not quite Justice League.
This.
Every week, more than likely, until we get to the dang movie in March. Okay, so, like we were letting you guys know, there was that Dawn of the Justice League special on the CW just this Tuesday, and a lot of information came out. A ton of information about Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, about also the other characters that are going to be included in the actual Justice League movie Part 1, as well as Part 2 coming down the road. Of course, one of the things we saw was a lot of new Wonder Woman footage, showing her in this new World War I setting as opposed to World War II, where she actually came out of. It's a very desaturated palette there. It looks kind of similar to the way Captain America the First Avenger was shot. We've got this character in noticeable kind of red and blue against a very still foresty background.
Yes.
But it's not too much to go off, but for the most part, I'm starting to believe Gal Gadot more and more every time I see her in costume.
I believe her costume. I don't necessarily
I'll say that.
believe
I'll give it that.
Her build, but I believe her costume.
I should go on record as saying this much. She's the thing about any of these movies that I have the most hope in.
But that's not saying that it's going to save the movie.
No, it's not. I'm just saying the thing that I'm expecting to go in liking is her.
I get that. I absolutely agree.
The other things we saw is a little bit more promotional art for Aquaman, The Flash, and Cyborg. 3 characters that we've more or less had confirmed will be in some way, shape, or form in this Not Quite Justice League movie. They also confirmed that, yes, Green Lantern will in fact be part of the actual Justice League set of movies before his, or rather having to do with his appearance in the Green Lantern Corps movie. Still no word on who is playing the Green Lantern yet, unless you've been following some spoilers that have been going around, but still they're spoilers, so we're not going to report them here.
Right.
Just that the spoilers exist.
Yes.
So we'll leave it to that. Over on the show airing right before Arrow, we've got some interesting information that the character of Vixen, who had her small run on the CW Seed app as a little comic web series sort of thing, animated web series, I should say, will be making her jump to the live-action show later on this season.
I know nothing about that character.
She has the power of animals.
Okay.
That's as simple as I can put it.
Okay.
But that picture was made available today. That was the one I forgot to give you. That's on me.
You gave me every other
I
picture
gave you every
on
other
Earth.
picture, but
You
that
didn't give
one.
me
That's
that
on me.
one. All right.
That's on me. All right. So there's a picture out there. Go look for it. Yes. In other DC news, so we also got the announcement of the Justice League versus Teen Titans animated movie, and here you can see the Titans there. This is, of course, following the vein of animated movies that started with Justice League War, going up to this most recent one, Batman Bad Blood, which is available digitally now and will be available on February 2nd on Blu-ray and DVD.
Wow, you had that information memorized.
Well, yeah,
That's awesome.
I very much look forward to these animated movies.
The animated movies are really have been much better than a lot of their forays into movies.
Yes.
So yes, I absolutely understand. The animation has been better than live action, except for in the case of Flash, Arrow.
Yeah, well, because see, they're actually giving themselves the time to develop and build an audience and build their voice and over time win people over, which is why I'm happy that I became a fan of both.
Yeah, I get that.
But with this, there's more of an expectation where it's blatantly the Justice League that you've gotten used to in these movies thus far, and with the exception of Robin and Nightwing there, the Titans, who we've seen in TV form before, but never here in an animated movie. Of course, all of the Titans there will not have their respective voices from the cartoons, Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, so it's a different cast.
It's a complete recasting?
It's a complete recasting.
That's unfortunate.
But it's something to look forward to later on as they put out more and more of these animated movies. Okay, so moving on to some Marvel news. It was interesting here. We got confirmation of Hot Toys is already working on their very realistic dolls for Civil War. And if any of you are familiar with Hot Toys' work, they put out these 1 foot tall dolls that are scarily accurate.
God, I hate those things.
And we have a picture here of a Hawkeye's doll. Yeah, right there. Almost a perfect likeness of Jeremy Renner.
Scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, I mean,
hate
it's... See, you hate it like it's Chucky or something.
It is! These things are gonna kill me in my sleep.
But it's a little Jeremy Renner, a little Chris Evans. What's scary about that?
No.
This is an Indian in the cupboard. They're not gonna come alive.
You don't know that? You don't know?
Admittedly, I don't. I really don't.
You don't know these things are gonna kill us all.
Yes, but hopefully they won't. Okay, so, in other kind of related news, because Marvel is owned by Disney, and now Disney's making some moves having to do with Star Wars. So, everybody was looking forward to next summer, we were going to get Episode 8.
Nope!
That's not happening anymore. So
pushed back to December, that's a huge pushback.
That's kind of a kick to the balls, I'm not going to lie.
For rewrites. So, that really could be either good or bad, and
now,
it's too hard to tell right now.
Most sources are citing that based off the reception of Episode 7, that's why the rewrites are being had. And they were just getting ready to go...
Do you think it's because everybody was too much like the old movies, please don't make it so much like the old movies and make it its own thing? Or do you think it's because everyone's really... don't make Rey such a Mary Sue?
I honestly don't know.
What can that mean?
Because one thing's for certain is that it's not the same... It's not going through one guy. We're not dealing with Lucas. This is a collaborative effort with Disney overseeing these things, and then Kathleen Kennedy, and then it follows down to the directors.
I
and
hear
the writers.
some people are really pissed about that. Some people really like it, oh, you took it out of the hand of one crazy person, and then other people are like, yeah, but it sure is crap that now it's a corporate-produced bloody blah. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's a good idea. I don't know.
The thing is, it's too early to tell. All we know is they're holding off on rewrites, and the other thing having to do with it is that now it won't have to compete, because the way it was going to work is that Episode 8 was going to come out, and then a month later they were going to have the next installment of Pirates of the Caribbean. Now Pirates of the Caribbean has moved up to that spot, whereas Star Wars has now moved up back into the winter. So now it's kind of like they don't want to compete with themselves.
And then who else also moved up who has nothing to do with Disney? Was it Spider-Man?
Well, technically it's not, like, roundaboutly, because it's a Sony Marvel production, but Marvel's owned by Disney. So yeah, Spider-Man's moved up by
So now there's
3
this
weeks now.
like film musical chairs, because you know that the reason why these other major blockbusters were not in that position is because of Star Wars, and the only reason they can move up has to be because they didn't want to compete with Star Wars over the summer.
Well, who wants to friggin'...
That had to have been it, you know?
Because look at the numbers. Alvin and the Chipmunks, whatever it was, and that Amy Poehler Tina Fey movie both got eaten up because they opened on the same day.
Yeah, of course.
They were like...
There was no hope.
The tiny ship in the wake of the Titanic. There was nothing they were going to do. So, yeah, you don't want to compete with Star Wars. You also don't want to compete with yourself. Like, if people were going to make a decision between the two
Disney wants to make sure they make the most bank possible. To release 2 movies, 2 relatively decent blockbusters, but one clearly overshadowing the other, near one another, then they're like, well, we're not going to maximize how much money we can make, and we love money, so let's not do that.
Yes. It's giraffe money to the next level.
Yeah.
It's specifically
2 giraffes.
2 giraffes. Well... Can we say mouse giraffe money?
Let's not do that.
No, okay, let's just keep it to giraffe money. All right, so moving on to some other news. A little bit of tokusatsu news over here. So we have confirmation that's just come out of this recent Kamen Rider Super Sentai live show that just ended yesterday, because it's a 2-night event where they have, you know, a bunch of old singers come back and sing the openings from the last couple of shows, and they revealed that coming up in Kamen Rider Ghost, they've revealed the identity of Kamen Rider Necron. This, of course, now is available information, and it is the character Adan, who a lot of people were figuring, yeah, it's gonna be him, because he's been there and he's been getting more powerful, especially through this last episode. Here we see him dressed a little bit more like his brother Adel, or the character Javert. Interesting thing they're doing with the names here. Using the new device that is a wrist-mounted device, not a belt like the other 2 riders, but we will see his debut later on this month.
Yes.
And then the last thing, which is kind of interesting, so we talked to you guys that we had gone to see the live-action Attack on Titan movies, and a lot of people, both here in the States and, of course, over in Japan, were kind of disappointed with the way those turned out. Turns out that over in Japan, just this past week, they topped a top 9 list of the most disappointing movies of the year came out, and Attack on Titan took respectively 1 and 3.
Because of 2 different movies.
Because it was 2 different movies. The first part was number 1, and then part 2 of the Attack on Titan movies made the 3rd spot. Like, they were...
Those are both very sad.
That's very sad, because in the middle of those 2, from the Japanese point of view, Terminator Genesis. Like, they knew what they were saying, because most of the things on that list, like Fantastic and all these other movies that they listed, I'm like, you know what, I kind of agree with you. Yeah, the only one I didn't agree with was Whiplash. But I imagine they just didn't take it the way it was intended.
I think it's a completely different, culturally different kind of movie. So, or they expected, what's his bald?
J.K. Simmons?
Yeah, they expected J.K. Simmons to be somebody he wasn't, perhaps.
I just think that was weird that...
Or that, what's his drummer's name ended up in Fantastic, and so everything about that is really disappointing.
Oh, so they just don't like Miles Teller, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that could be. That could be.
You know what, I'll just say they were blaming Miles Teller. I'll do that.
Sure.
Okay,
sure,
we're gonna go with that. Yeah, that's what we say officially is the Japanese opinion. The Japanese don't like Miles Teller.
Oh, well, let's not go with libel here. Slander? Libel? Which one is spoken?
Slander is spoken in print is libel. A line spoken by J.K. Simmons in Spider-Man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we've connected the whole thing. The circle of crap is complete. All right, so let's go ahead.
And that was a square.
That's the joke every time I do it.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. What's our first major story?
Rebels.
Rebels! I totally grabbed a video for that. And I'm not sure. Talk about it for a second, Josh.
Okay, so like I was saying, just last night, the latest episode, A Princess on Lothal, aired on Disney XD for this currently airing second season of Star Wars Rebels. And we had a hint of that with a trailer that was put out for this latest half of the season, I should say. Mm-hmm. This trailer came out, and it's more like a sizzle reel, because the amount of information that you can see in this thing is nothing short of mind-blowing. Because the kind of things they're showing, of course, are forecasting things that are going on later in this trailer.
Yeah, there we go. I just kind of threw it at you right there. There, I've kind of put it behind us now. So
now, what you're looking at here, and I'll try and kind of get out of the way here, is, we're seeing the plight of the rebellion as it's forming, trying to place themselves in opposition to the Empire, which is still very strong, operating with Sith Lords, the Inquisitors there. And then we have our fledgling Jedi there, Ezra, who is apparently now in this later part of the season being tempted by the dark side. It's interesting to see, because you'll see later on in this trailer, it looks like a lot of older characters are coming back from Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which is, of course, the other CG series.
Which we've already seen some of them come back.
Like Ahsoka, which is
and a number of the very important clone troopers to that series also.
Yes,
make a return.
One of the major things, and they'll show it here in just a second, is that we're finally going to see a confrontation between Ahsoka and her old master, Darth Vader, who, of course, everybody knows, used to be Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
And a lot of fans of the Clone Wars are very much looking at this like, oh my god, because that was
I'm more excited because, as you could already see from this sizzle trailer thing here, and then we watched the first episode that aired last night.
Yes.
But it doesn't give much away that you don't see here in this trailer. That, Leia makes an appearance.
No, Leia's in this trailer.
Yeah, you see Leia make.
And you see Yoda here, too.
But really, Leia is the most telling, because you can kind of see about what age she is. Because she's clearly in her late teens, and A New Hope starts when she and Luke are 19. So, this actually takes place not too far away from the beginning of A New Hope. Which also indicates, Ezra's age throughout, let's say he lives, we don't know, I guess, because we don't know what happens once they decide to end Rebels, because we haven't heard...
We haven't even gotten that.
If or when they're going to end Rebels. But you figure if he lives, he's younger than Luke and Leia, and could possibly still be alive, even all the way up through Episode 7. You don't know. You don't know.
Admittedly, we don't right now, but this raises a lot of questions, like we're raising right now, for the continuity of the series, because, especially in last night's episode, when you look at the fact that Leia is clearly made aware of Jedi characters that are not her brother, Obi-Wan, or Darth Vader.
Yeah.
That's very interesting to see how they're going to handle that, because we were having this discussion before the show, talking about the episode, that just because she's met them doesn't mean she inherently gets it. We don't know how much young Leia was told about the Jedi.
We know, of course, from Episode 4, she was told that Obi-Wan helped her dad out in the Clone Wars. That's all we know.
As far as the message, yes.
But we don't know whether or not she knows that Obi-Wan was a Jedi, and that was the context in which he helped her dad during the Clone Wars.
Which is entirely possible. I don't think that throws things off incredibly.
Not necessarily, no.
Now, the other interesting part about this trailer is the fact that, when we're looking at it here, the person that's going to tempt, I guess, Ezra to come to the dark side seems to be Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Having survived from the events of the Clone Wars television series. And that's, you want to talk about a wrench in the works, you bring him back all the way from the Clone Wars and his stupid robot self. I mean...
I'd rather not.
But, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. Some people are saying, oh, maybe it's Snoke, but if you look close enough, you can see, the etchings of the designs on his face. and similar. I can get people thought with his eyes like, oh, that's Snoke. No, it's pretty much Darth Maul.
I really wish no, but if they're going to, fine. Like,
now I can agree with some of the people in the chat here. Like, admittedly, yeah, this does not really, the way this trailer, the sizzle reel paints it. It doesn't paint things very positively for Ahsoka because, far as we know, there were no other Jedi, or really for Ezra or Kanan for that matter, there are no other Jedi mentioned outright within the original trilogy. So what does that say about these characters, especially, with the ominous music and showing duels upcoming? Like, they're... we've all been wondering about it ever since we started watching and realizing how close it was knitted to the original trilogy. Like, I'm worried about really the whole crew of the Ghost. I mean, maybe there's a possibility that somebody got out, Hera or Chopper or somebody, but specifically for, like, Ahsoka, Ezra, and Kanan, they've kind of got targets on their forehead more because they're Jedi.
Yes, exactly.
Jedi that are not mentioned in the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how they're going to handle that, especially when they've got, Yoda talking directly to Ezra, because in this last season, it was just a voiceover of Yoda.
Yeah.
That he just, no, I think it was Kanan that heard that. The voiceover of Yoda.
Oh, I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was Kanan.
But there was a voiceover, but now we know that Ezra speaks directly to Yoda and his kind of weirdly formed CG face. Admittedly, I do.
But it's still Frank Oz.
Yeah.
So I'm not complaining.
No, not at all.
So I mean, I'm very interested to see where the series is gonna go from here.
And then here, see, Ezra gets the lightsaber that's all like.
Oh yeah, he's got a 3-bladed lightsaber. There's you can kind of see him there. There was Darth Maul, but he there's the connection to the Force Awakens where it's a 3-sided lightsaber, not too dissimilar from the style that Kylo Ren uses in the Force Awakens. Tying it back. And as far as that goes, we have no context for why he's holding up a green 3-sided lightsaber. I mean, I imagine they've come up with a good reason for it. Otherwise, they wouldn't.
I hope it's good.
I hope they're not just throwing it in there for fan service, because the show's been very good about giving me the kind of fan service I want that has meaning and backstory. There it was right there. But yeah, that's the thing that I think endears me to the series so much, is that they take the care to make it as meaningful and tying it back. Like we were saying, just watching this last episode, the musical stings they were using.
Oh yeah, anytime Leia shows up, you get musical stings of Leia's theme that appear throughout the original trilogy. And even a little bit in episode 7, you hear her musical sting too. But that tugged at my heartstrings just hearing it. I was like, oh my god, that really ties it in for me. It's kind of the argument, sometimes I bring it up, about why I didn't feel like Final Fantasy 13 didn't work, was because they didn't use the right musical stings.
Right.
So, but this series does that all the time.
Absolutely. So we're very much looking forward to it. If you haven't started watching it, get on that mess, get with it, act like you want it, because it's amazing, and stuff's gonna go down.
Alright.
Yes, so Star Wars Rebels Season 2, get on that. Okay, so moving on to our second story of the evening, coming out of Japan, this Dragon Quest stage performance of this arena tour that they're going to be putting on for this anniversary of Dragon Quest.
All these stories have trailers behind us.
Yeah, we have footage tonight, guys. Upgrades. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. The live
kind of,
arena spectacle.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool. I was like, okay, they're doing a live stage thingy, whatever. But watching it, I was kind of like, oh, this looks really, really technical and really impressive. And they're only doing, 5 showings? It's only going to be in 5 places. Maybe they'll do multiples in
As I understand it, they're doing multiple showings in these particular cities. In Yokohama, Osaka, Nagoya, Fukuoka, and Saitama. Each one having a large arena.
Yeah, Saitama and Yokohama are actually just on north and south sides of Tokyo, so it's really... They're not that far away from each other.
It still takes a while to get to either one.
Like an hour in between the two of them.
Yeah, but still.
In any case.
Yes, this is going to be running from July 22nd through August 31st. So if you haven't made plans to go out to Tokyo yet,
maybe you should do it.
And
so
check
so
this
here's what's kind of interesting. It is for the 30th anniversary of Dragon Quest. Otherwise, man, Square Enix announced a whole bunch of really boring, disappointing things a week or more ago. Something
What were
that.
some of the things they were
Like,
throwing at it? Like, here you go.
We're gonna release not a real Dragon Quest game on the anniversary of Dragon Quest, but like the sequel to that kind of Dynasty Warriors-esque Dragon Quest game that came
Dragon
out.
Quest Heroes.
Heroes, yeah, there's like a sequel to that coming out on the day. And then, like, some member of Square Enix was like, and here's my slideshow from my most recent vacation. And it was like, this is the worst announcement ever. But this is pretty freaking cool. Apparently the stage show features characters from across the main series of Dragon Quest.
Specifically, they mentioned that the protagonists from Dragon Quests 3, 4, 6, 8... that's all. 3, 4, 6, and 8 will be shown here in the stage show. You can see some of them there in costume.
Using the story of Dragon Quest 3 kind of as its basis, you can kind of see, like, I kind of have to... That's Demon King right there. They're talking about defeating the Demon King.
Right, who's here? There, got the horns.
So, there you go. But what's kind of interesting is actually they're still taking auditions for some of these roles, for hero and heroine characters.
Yes, they're actually having open auditions for both men and women to try and be part of this performance. And for a lot of people over there, this could be a very big opportunity. Because, stage show work is more prevalent there than it is here. Here you do theater, but there's not too many opportunities, I should say, for stage shows. I mean, the biggest you got are, like, Disney on Ice, and then just past year with Marvel Universe Live. That's probably the best thing I can compare this to. This is Dragon Quest by way of Marvel Universe Live, where it's this arena tour, very centralized, a lot of interesting use of lighting elements, a little bit of pyrotechnics, to make the audience feel more immersed in the world of Dragon Quest.
So I was looking up a couple of these names, too. The person directing the performance is somebody by the name of Kahori Kanaya. I wasn't able to get anything else specific that he's done, but he's apparently worked in Japanese stage entertainment for years and years and years. And then Ray Winkler, again, the name didn't click to me at all, but I kind of looked him up, and he is the CEO of Stewfish. It's a UK-based entertainment architecture firm. So, as you can kind of understand, like, he's done stuff for One Direction, and for, who else? Like, I've got a whole page here of... I know you guys here can't see it, but you, Josh, look at some of these amazing arenas he's built with these fantastic...
Basically, he's done different tours for, like, AC/DC, the Rolling Stones, Metallica, all these different stage setups. So you do need somebody of that caliber working on this tour, because that's what it is.
Elton John, Lady Gaga, those are people who are, like, all about flashy and gaudy looking.
And for something like this, much like Marvel Universe Live, you want to have the best effects that you can for something that's going to get the kids in. Because really... Well, actually, with Dragon Quest,
oh my god, this
different.
trailer, too. If you look at... Wait all the way to the end of the trailer.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The crying child?
The one...
Like, that child is so happy he's crying, and I'm thinking, man, you guys are really sure of yourselves, aren't you? That this is going to bring children to tears. They're so happy.
Children,
really,
nothing. It's going to bring adults to tears.
Yeah.
Because, Dragon Quest is so much more beloved over there than it is here.
And more beloved than... Of the two Square Enix titles, it's more beloved than Final Fantasy. Dragon Quest shuts businesses down.
Like you said, like, there's an...
People get fired.
There's an existing penalty for people who call in sick to go pick up the latest Dragon Quest game
on launch day. Yeah.
Like, hey, sorry, man, I can't come in. I've got cold. I've got a cold. Yeah. Are you going to pick up Dragon Quest? No. Well, you better not be, otherwise you're fired. I'm just putting in my 2 weeks, man. I gotta get that game.
Yeah.
Like, that's the choice people make when it comes to Dragon Quest. Now, there's not too much information out about the auditioning process, just that it exists. And I can say from experience, from having tried out for different touring shows over the years, that kind of thing can be very, very scary to newcomers, first timers, people who haven't worked on a show like this, because definitely they want to see if you're athletic. You've got to move in these shows.
Yes.
You're doing several shows a week. You've got to be in the best condition you can be. They're not necessarily looking for like bodybuilders or something of that nature, but you want to make sure you're physically capable. You also want to make sure that you've got your stage fright under control if you have it, because most actors will tell you that fear doesn't go away. You just learn how to channel it into your performance.
Yes.
And so with something like this...
I do that every day. I'm just telling the truth.
You do. We've had conversations about this. But I think it would be a very interesting, very awesome opportunity to be a part of this show. Because, you get to be there. You get the awesome costumes. You get the effects. It'll probably be just like the Hiro Yoshihiko, the same sound effects over and over again.
Yeah.
What'll be funny is...
Same classic sound effects as... And... classic. The whole trailer plays the classic Dragon Quest theme. So
I'm interested to see how they're gonna do the. Oh, and there's the little bit of Cirque du Soleil there. An aerialist. I'm interested to see how they're going to incorporate some aspects of the show. Like you see there in the trailer, the slimes. The most noticeable thing from a Dragon Quest game. I wonder, like, if it was me, and this is just me, like, just to have fun, just get a bunch of balloons, blow them up, not with helium, just enough, turn them upside down, and then make the slime face on them and just rain them over the audience at the end of the show.
That would be adorable.
I wonder if they wouldn't do something like that, make it even more immersive for the audience.
Yes.
Because, honestly, I would love to do a show like this. I just wish we did more of them over here like it, and that they held the auditions closer, because
I know, right?
Generally over here they're holding it in one of two places, either New York or LA.
Yeah.
Sometimes Chicago, sometimes Florida, but for the most part, yeah, you gotta either be there or get there.
We gotta get out of here. I'm telling you, San Antonio's got nothing to offer. We gotta get out of here.
We got tacos, but like that's delicious, but it's not
gonna
helping.
get us anywhere.
It's not gonna get us anywhere.
Nice.
Yeah, all right. So yes, definitely, if you're into Dragon Quest and you're into live arena
and Japan,
and you're in Japan,
just go there.
Go check it out. Tell us how it was, or if you can fit us in your luggage.
It is going to be huge, because, like, Saitama Super Arena, I know how big Saitama Super Arena is.
Very, very big. Like, if you guys have ever seen, it's there in the opening, I think, because we looked this up, in the opening of Kamen Rider O's, the arena he's driving next to in the opening, that's Saitama Super Arena.
Yeah.
That thing is big.
This is bigger than, what, the Astrodome, maybe? Might be the size of the Astrodome, I don't know.
We would have to compare those numbers.
I need to compare them.
But it's big. It's pretty big. I'm interested, now that we're listing off, how big Saitama Super... I'm surprised they're not having this at the Tokyo Dome.
I know, right? But I'm not so certain that the Tokyo Dome is as big as Saitama Super Arena. Also, like I said, Saitama and Yokohama are just on opposite ends of Tokyo. That's all it is. They're within, like, just barely outside of Tokyo proper. Either one of them.
Like, you wouldn't have to switch trains.
No, they're on the map. So it's like, well, pick which one of them you're probably closer to, and if you're in the middle, then you're screwed. Just pick one. It's fine. There's probably a reason why they didn't choose Tokyo Dome.
Yeah.
Alright, that's enough speculation.
Enough speculation on that. So let's get to something we can actually sink our teeth into. Our third story, this latest Suicide Squad trailer. Now, this trailer debuted with this Dawn of the Justice League 30-minute special there on the CW, as well as all that other information that we listed at the top of the show. Here you're seeing the trailer in progress, showing all the different members of the Suicide Squad, like Deadshot, Harley Quinn.
I don't outright hate everything about the trailer. However, I do feel like the music might not have been a great choice with the trailer.
I had
much like the most recent Star Trek trailer released. I felt like it was very jarring music along with it. So to choose Queen to go along with this didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, because it's very dividing, I see, because on my different timelines of social media, Twitter, Facebook, what have you, it's kind of down the middle, because some people are like, oh man, as soon as they heard the Queen song, and a lot of people, like myself, as soon as they heard that, it was like, really? Really? That's what you're going for with this?
Because otherwise, I feel like, even if this isn't my perfect picture of what I think Suicide Squad should look like, I do think it looks like a more entertaining film so far than Batman v Superman, not quite Justice League. But I'm having a real hard time because I'm trying to disassociate it from that song, and that's very difficult for me to do because you put it in there for advertising purposes for a reason, and I don't know, it just...
It feels a little weird because, going into this trailer, we're given again the plot of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis, having put together these best of the worst, all these different villains from across the DC universe to go...
At least they seem like that seems like an accurate representation
yes,
of how they came together,
that's
of
fine.
who these people are. That is fine.
That much is fine. They got that part right.
Yeah.
Amanda Waller, she's in charge. They're all held up at Bell Rev. She's got them all on a tight leash. They go do missions for her or they get killed. Mm-hmm. That much they got right.
Yes.
Fine. I'm not going to argue about costumes as hard this time as I did, when we first covered the story. But I will say it's interesting, especially when we get to, of course, the other big thing about the trailer that everybody's talking about is Jared Leto's depiction of the Joker. And you'll see later on here in just a second, Jared Leto in this basic tux that's very reminiscent of some old Alex Ross art of him and Harley Quinn. Mm-hmm. And people are saying, oh, see, look, they're getting closer. And it's like, yeah, but you're waiting a long time to get closer to what the Joker normally looks like.
Yeah.
And people are saying, yeah, hold on, they'll get to it. But it's like, when you're doing marketing for, really this is an experiment, because we've never seen this many DC villains in one place at one time. Mm-hmm. You want to put your best foot forward, and then, think about, here he is there, yeah, you can see it right there, the, you see the rose on his lapel. Mm-hmm. I don't know, I don't think that was their best foot forward, going back to that whole... that first picture we got, and here
tattoos all over the face initially.
Yes,
and, which I'm glad they stepped away from.
I'm glad to say that looking at Margot Robbie's rendition of Harley Quinn, which is it'll be the first time we've ever seen
her live action. Yeah,
because we've heard her live action. There was a small sound blurb in season 2 of Arrow where which was the Suicide Squad episode there in Arrow, mm-hmm. of Harley there in the background there, not getting brought along for the mission. She's not doing the typical accent that everybody knows Harley Quinn for, but there's some of the similar vocal quality and mannerism to it without doing the accent. And I think it'll be tolerable. That's the best way I can put it.
So far, I hate her, but then again, half the time I just actually dislike Harley Quinn. Not all the time, but some of the time. So really, it's not that I dislike her interpretation so much thus far. She's doing a good job, I think. I don't like the way she's dressed, but that doesn't actually say anything about how her character is played necessarily.
Now, the thing about it is, going back to the information that was given out during that special, it seems that they're keeping her origin intact. That she was originally Dr. Harleen Quinzel, mm-hmm. who worked at Arkham, found the Joker, started treating him, and then she somehow was messed up in the head. He got in her mind, and then somehow that started her path down becoming Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
So, again, good on that. You guys seem to have that going on. I appreciate that despite all the supposed groundedness of the other movies, we can clearly see here the different characters have their, essentially their typical powers here, like, the flame abilities and Killer Croc looking like, a human crocodile.
Right.
It's not just, he's got like a skin rash. No, he looks pretty reptilian. Mm-hmm. So good on you. The interesting thing here is you're looking here at some of this, I don't know how to describe it, but like magic explosions or something in the background. Some sort of CG explosions that aren't just, regular dynamite or something like that. I have no idea what that is.
Well, you know, some things are okay not to have completely revealed right now. I'm not too upset about that in this trailer.
I get that. The thing about it is they're being sent to a city. I don't recall whether or not they've determined which city that is, but they're having to either stop something or retrieve something of a certain nature that Waller has an interest in.
Right.
The thing about it is we don't know exactly what they're doing, and I imagine we won't know until closer to August when the movie comes out. But, you know, you see there's some sort of a weird tendril sticking out, some sort of a black ooze. And if any of you have been keeping up with the set pictures, we've seen a lot of army men or security guards with some sort of prosthesis over their faces. Like there's some sort of, I don't know, a goop or a virus that's gotten out there in the city, and somehow they have to contain it.
What do you think that could possibly be? I mean,
as far as
I'm
the
not
DC
well
universe,
versed enough.
No,
to
see,
know.
the thing is, even though I'm not the best person to be versed in the DC universe, I know enough to get me by compared to most comic people. But even then, I'm kind of stumped as to what this is, because like I could come up with a Marvel explanation for what it is, but that's you know, that's a whole nother ball game. That's a different universe.
Yeah, just don't even bother.
Yeah, just don't even bother with it. The thing about it is, the other big thing, of course, being Deadshot here, played by Will Smith. He seems too much like he's trying to still play a good guy in a bad guy movie.
Yeah.
Because in every other depiction I've seen of Deadshot, Deadshot is selfish. Deadshot is in it for himself. As many of the other characters that are in the squad are, like Captain Boomerang or Slipknot or what have you. But it still seems like he's still trying to be regular old charismatic Will Smith. Like he's not a character here. He's still Will Smith. Because,
like, doesn't he not like to play villains? You know, isn't that a thing? A characteristic of him? He doesn't want to go bad?
Well, no, see, that's specifically Jackie Chan is an actor who's blatantly said, I will never play a villain role. With Will, like, right now I'm trying to think of it, I can't remember the last time he ever played anything close to a villain.
Yeah.
The closest I can think of is maybe 6 Degrees of Separation, and that was way back in the early 90s. You know, the very friggin' beginning of his acting career.
Right.
Whereas, you know, from then up till... maybe Focus. The last one he did with Margot Robbie. But even then, it still seems like... There was a time in my life where I would go to a movie and pay to watch Will Smith be Will Smith.
Because he was Will Smith.
Because he was Will Smith. But here, it's like... no, this is... I don't think I'm going to give you...
It's not the right place to be Will Smith, right?
Because the thing about it...
I don't think so.
Because when you look at it in bigger terms, in the bigger picture, he picked this movie, and then they offered him the chance to come back for Independence Day 2, but he turned it down because he was working on this. I don't know. I kind of think he should have taken the other role, you know, because...
Because then he could have been him in the appropriate place to be him.
Right, exactly, in a role he originated. You know, whereas here, I don't know, I very much see, even in the way they've cut this, that they're going to paint him as more of an anti-hero than a villain. And the whole thing that makes the Suicide Squad work is that they're all villains.
Yeah.
There isn't really a good streak in any of them.
Yeah, they're just doing a good thing because it's good for somebody, but still bad?
Well, because the general terms that they work on...
And they also don't have a choice. So...
Well, yeah, they don't have a choice, but in some... More often than not, the offer that they're given is that if they should they complete the mission, if they have a sentence, you know, like 99 years or whatever, they get time off every time they complete a mission successfully. And so that's the incentive for them. They're only doing a good thing because it's good for them personally. It comes back to selfishness. It comes back to them being bad guys and flawed people. I think back to, Batman Assault on Arkham, that rendition of the Suicide Squad.
Right.
They very much got that across there. And I was looking at that and thinking, well, if the live-action movie's like this, then we shouldn't have a problem. Because, they got the group dynamic down. Whereas here, it just... I like how some people, and not people connected to one another, mind you, but a lot of people have come to the conclusion this is like Hot Topic the movie.
A little bit, yeah.
Especially in the way...
Waiting for Hot Topic to get the licensed clothing from this movie.
And you know they're going to sell the ever-loving crap out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because, people are waiting. And admittedly, there are those people that are very hyped for this movie, especially for, another Joker, more Harley Quinn stuff. But, I don't know. I'm just not... You remember when we watched this when it came out, made available online, it's like, the first thing I said when I saw it was, I feel nothing. like, at least when I watched the Not Quite Justice League footage, I could get angry at something, you know, and I want to be invested in this. I really do. But, like, I don't know. Something about it's just not clicking with me. I mean, I will go see it.
You don't feel mad and you don't feel excited.
No,
so
I don't feel either. If I don't feel either one of those things or hopeful, then what do I feel? I can't say I feel let down. I mean, I could say that, but that wouldn't exactly be accurate.
Yeah, because it's not really a movie I was outright expecting when they announced it. So, I couldn't really get excited over it because it wasn't like... It just wasn't even on my radar, really.
No. I'll say this much.
I'm sure it's very exciting to some of these diehard fans of these characters who are like, they're actually bringing them on screen? That's awesome. In that regard, that is pretty cool that some of these characters who have never been on screen before are being put on screen. I'm just... This isn't for me, I don't think.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, like, if I have to take anything away from this footage, or really any of the footage or the promotional shots they've shown, they're gonna kill off Captain Boomerang. Like, he's a dead man because of how little they're showing him. It's gotta be one end of the spectrum. Either he's in it so little it's not gonna matter, or they're hiding him and they're gonna turn him into something awesome. But either way, there's very little of you in this Jai Courtney, so I'm sorry. You know. And then, you know, Joel Kinnaman there is Rick Flag. You know, he had a few lines to say about his character there in the special, but I don't know how much he'll actually play into it. That was the one thing about the Assault on Arkham. Rick Flag's character wasn't in Assault on Arkham, but he was in the kind of sort of Suicide Squad episode of Justice League Unlimited. At least they had him there. So he's been represented animated before, but again, this will be the first time for this character live action.
Right.
The other thing you see here is that... you only see him for a second, but Ben Affleck, of course, is in the movie as Batman, tied back to the confirmation of that he did film a cameo, and it's a little longer than people initially thought it would be. Like, he's got a scene, at least. Hopefully with the Joker, and we'll get to see some of the interplay there, and people are saying, however that plays out, that scene of Batman and the Joker will tell the tale of where they're going to go in the direction with the Batman solo movie when that comes out.
Right, that makes sense. Is there any word on what the timeline is, whether this is before or after Batman v Superman?
See, the thing is, I have to go back because I keep hearing conflicting reports that this is just after Not Quite Justice League, or this is just before. The last thing I heard is this happens just after the events of Not Quite Justice League, since, you know, the movies are only going to be a few months apart. Not Quite Justice League coming out in March, this coming out in August. So the one movie will be fairly fresh in people's minds.
That makes
and then
sense.
they'll get to jump into this one, which in that sense, I'll give them credit for the way they spaced the two out. You know, because you'll be done with one, you know, you'll have had your chance to pre-order the Blu-ray or whatever, and then you're going to go see this. And it's like, okay, so there's continuity there. There's not too much space in between movies, which is smart. I wish you guys were better about that, DC. Also, I wish you guys had something to get me excited.
I'm just here. I'll see it. But...
yeah, I'll see. I can't... Like, I can't say that I think it's going to be terrible. I'm just going into it like... like, like, that's going to be my one-word review on it. So what'd you think of Suicide Squad? And that's about as much as I can give it.
Well, don't say that too early. We still need to actually see it.
That's true. That's true.
Alright. I guess that's about it, though.
Yeah, that's probably about it.
Alright.
Okay, so again, we thank you guys for coming out, talking to us here in the chat. We see what you guys are saying, but you're going to get the chance to talk to us a little bit more in a second once we're done with the show.
Right, because...
It's Q&A time.
Yeah, we're about to go into our Q&A time for those of you who are live with us right now. If you're not live with us right now and you're just watching this later on YouTube, elsewhere on the internet, thank you for watching. We'd really like it for you guys to come on down here and interact with us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Central over at youtube.com/MarsGirl/live. It's always so much fun to talk to you guys and to talk to the other people here in the chat over here. They're awesome people, and you should hang out with them because they're all great. Nobody comes here who's not great.
Yes.
Yes.
But of course, you can always talk to us during the week over on social media, over on Twitter. I'm at Josh Knight First.
And I'm at Mars Girl.
And that having been said, that's been tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rims, and we will see you guys again next week.
Good night.